Hello. So what I want to show today is a little library I did last weekend. Those that been following my videos are probably expecting some more heretic footage. I was porting heretic on XNA. My computer blew up. Well, the SSD blew up, and I just didn't install everything yet to work in XNA and all. And I just wanted to create that little library. So it's basically, I call it Dave's layered effects. So it's something to apply effects. So let's say in Photoshop. So let's say I have a picture and I can do a drop shadow or a stroke or change the color and stuff like that. So I've been working on a couple games that actually do things like this. So I've been writing this often over again on at least 3 projects that I can count, and the most recent ones. The most recent one use it in real time, so not in real time, but during loading time. So basically, all the fonts are baked to textures, and after that, effects are applied to the text. So there's a gradient overlay, and there's strokes and beautiful shadow, and it has to be really, really fast. But as I said, I've done that multiple times now, so it got pretty fast. I've done that previously on other projects in a pre-process step. So if some of you have played the game Sideways New York on the PlayStation 3, it's also on Steam, I think. Uh, it's basically paintings projected on the walls, and the walls are in 3D. But all those paintings are characters animated, and we had all the animations done, and there's like thousands and thousands of sprites in this game, and we wanted to add a paint stroke around all the characters, so I had to write that uh, code directly into the sprite packer, so the artist didn't have to go through. So anyway, so I created that little libs, which is just 2 files. You download it, you just grab those 2 files, and you put it to your project. And what it does is you can control things like this. It's not fully done, but I'm just going to do a quick demo of how it works. So we're going to start with 2 images. So there's this one, which is just a shape, and there's this one, which is a little hello world right in here, and some other shapes. And we're basically going to load that. So let's say we have a little tool here. So I'm loading the both files, and I'm saving the files. So we can ignore those bars. So those can be whatever you're doing. So if it's in Cocos 2D, for example, and you want to apply something to the fonts, well, you could put this into your label TTF fonts while it's uh, baking the font and on the buffer, and you end up having a buffer, and that's only what my tools need, is that little buffer. So you include it, DLE. You include the 2 files I talked about on the on your project. So it's C++11, so this will only work on the latest Visual Studio 2013 and Xcode 5. I don't think that's a problem for many people, but just throwing out there, C++11. So let's say I'm just going to start with the first image here, the second image. The second image is this one. So I'm just going to start by trying to put a drop shadow on this. So DLE, that's the namespace, and I try to design it so it's really simple to use from a user perspective. So what we want to apply effects. You pass your buffer, which is pimage2 data. We need to pass in the size of that buffer. It's 512 by 512. That's the dimensions of the picture. And then you can list the effects you want. So we just want a shadow effect there. And that's it. So this should work. So let's try this. That's it, it's done. It's pretty fast. I'm building this around speed. There's a lot of automation left to do. This is just the first iteration of it. but I really want this to be fast, so you can use that during loadings, heck, even real time. So let's say you pick up coins in your game and you want to update the UI at the top, little things like that, you can do them in real time. It shouldn't be cost. So now we're going to have that output there. This is just a test project, by the way. It's all on GitHub also if you want to do some test. I'm just going to drag it into Photoshop. And it didn't work. Yeah, of course it didn't work. I'm not saving the right image back. There we go. And you can see there's a drop shadow. It's really faint. It's not a very big effect. If I put it on like a different background, let's say on a white background, it's a little bit more visible there. And then you can stack effects. So let's say I will start by doing a color overlay. Let's put that on different lines so it's a bit easier. Then I can specify color. Let's put it yellow orange-ish. Let's update that picture, and yellow orange-ish. So it's basically like Photoshop. There's not much to say about this. Let's try something else. Let's try now to apply, like you've seen, I've literally applied directly effects to this image. But let's say I want to start manipulating layers, like in Photoshop. You got two layers, and this one has a stroke, and this one, and it add a color overlay, but it has a opacity and stuff like that. So let's say you want to do this. There's a lot of missing features yet. This is just, again, first iteration, but I think it's looking pretty good. It's very simple to use. And things syntax like this, this is C++11 actually. You will normally write it like this. But C++11 is really cool, so let's use it. Or C++10 or whatever, when the feature arrived. So now I can create a layer. So let's do this. And I need to pass it my source image, which is image 2, its size, and its blend mode. By default, it's normal. So let's leave it normal for now. Whoops, I hit key I shouldn't hit. And I could do the same thing as I did previously, but by writing the code like that. So I could create a shadow effect. Let's create an outline. We didn't try that one. Oops. Let's create an outline and layer. You can add effects, outline, and then you can do bake on it. It's more apply layers, yeah. So I can say, well, the destination image, I'm going to write it on the first image. Size again, and the layers. So I got one layer. It's very simple library to use. So what we did there, something that doesn't compile. I tried this before. Yep, that's not a function call. Alright, so let's update it. And we got our shape with a stroke. You can set the color of the stroke too. You can there's some parameters here. You can set the color, the size, and blah blah blah. I'll let you guys experiment with this. The other things, so you've seen I've created one layer. I could combine layers. So let's try it on with the second image. Layer 2, This one's going to have a color overlay. That's the image 2. Let's use first image for that one. And layer 2, and we're going to add the outline, and we're going to do a color overlay, we said. And we're going to make it red so it's very apparent. And we're going just to, apply all the effects one after the others. Pretty straightforward, just like you will do in Photoshop. And as you can see, there's the other layer on top. So now, here's the thing. I'm just going to add, I'm going to make this one a little bit more compact. And I'm going to add a color overlay to that one also. So we can test the blending. So we're going to make this one kind of blue. Voila. Blah, blah, blah. Actually, I think I can, so I can insert, so that's the thing. I added more functions, so you don't have to add the effects after. You can add it here directly. I just need to specify the blend mode, which we're going to see in a moment. So not all blend modes are actually available yet. As I said, it's in progress. Going to add a blend mode because we're going to change that. Layer 2, layer 1. Alright, so to color, so now we're going to select a blend mode for the second layer and see how it blends to the back. And I'll be honest with you, this is the first time I'm trying it. Multiply. This is actually the first time I'm trying it. Hopefully it's going to work. I know blend modes works for effects, but on 2 layers on top of each other, well, let's see. It doesn't work really well. So I'm going to fix that, but you can see that layers actually blending together. But where you're going to use that library the most, it's applying effects directly, like I showed the first time. So let's ignore everything. Let's apply effects directly to the first image. Ignore the blend mode here. And let's say you have text, you're going to have an outline. Black outline is always good. You're going to have 3 pixel thick. You can add blending to your outline too. You can add, you're going to add a drop shadow to it. You can add, there's glow, there's inner shadow. I will show you inner shadow. Well, there's a drop shadow. It's hard to see. It's the default is hard to see. There's the outline, the inner glow. It's inner glow. That's why we don't see it. The glow will kind of add itself, so you can see it obviously. That's an inner shadow I wanted. Yeah. And there's an inner shadow, if you can see. You can do really cool text effects. If you go play a game like Mega Run, I know for a fact they're doing this, and their fonts just look gorgeous. They have also gradient overlays, so that's I added this, so I can just show you quickly which ones I have here. I have the color overlay, the blur. So the blur is used actually by other effects like the shadow and stuff like that. There's the outline, the shadow, the inner shadow, the glow, the inner glow, the gradient. So you can specify as many key as you want. So gradient keys are same thing as Photoshop. All those little things here that you can specify where you want them, and you can specify the angle of it. So that's going to be hard to take me too long to show you because I have to type all the keys, but this is all functional. So I'm going to add on radial shadow. So I got some to-dos, so I know it's not done, and that's it. I'm going to add sub layers eventually. You know, like in Photoshop you can add layers, groups, and you can add a blending to that layer, so you can do interesting effects. I don't think for most of the usage the layers are really important here. The reason why I added layers to this library is because I can see third-party programs like open source program, I mean, like GIMP, for example, which really lack those kind of functionalities. Maybe they can use my library to, you know, add layers effects and stuff like that. Just a thought. I mean, whatever you're writing a program like that, or a tool for your game company, or just real time on iOS or Windows machine or whatever. Yeah, so it's basically generating procedural content without having to bake everything. So the one advantage of this, mostly when you work with fonts, you can have Chinese characters, multiple language, and you don't have to include all those characters. Like we did in the first game we did at Bethesda, it's Mad Balls and Babbo Invasion. We had Japanese, Korean, Mandarin, Russian, and we had included all of those characters into sprite sheets. It was huge. I think it was so compact too. It was down to 12 megs, but we were already tight with memory back then. So if I had used this instead in the library to bake font, then all of this will not have been necessary. And it's really simple, as you can see. It's built to be simple to use and fast. So hope some of you like the new library I'm doing. I will go back to Heretic. Heretic is more graphical intense. My eyes are having huge problems right now. Difficulty. One of my eyes seeing blurry right now. I've been like that for a month. It's really annoying. My computer crashed and all, so I'm not on an SSD anymore. I'm on a hard drive. Sucks, but it's a lot slower actually. But yeah, what I'm going to use this lib for, I think for the next game jam next year, I will try to do more of those special things like the game fully procedural. I think I will try that one. So I will try to create other libraries, maybe to do noise functions or generating cool textures, content, and stuff like that. Even like generating levels, maybe using or dungeons and stuff like that. I will try to create some kind of libraries like that to build up something. And next year, for the next game jam, I'm probably going to try to do something procedural. So it's going to be really cool. Anyway, I will continue. I just bought a license of Bandicam, which is awesome. I will continue to post videos of those progress anyway. So hope people will actually find a use for this library, and I would like to hear it back if people actually use it. Because on GitHub you cannot see how many downloads you have for something, so then that sucks a little bit. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching.